Covering a major portion of World War II, the Battle of the Atlantic was a fight for the control of Atlantic sea routes. This control was vital to the Allies, as it allowed for the transport of essential resources and the maintenance of naval military power in the seas. Britain especially needed the sea routes, as it depended on more than 1 million tons of imports per week in order to fight. For Germany, given its history with submarines and U-boats, this naval battle was its best opportunity at defeating the Allies. If Britain's trade lifeline could be severed, it wouldn't stand a chance against Germany. The outcome of this battle would have lasting consequences on all parties involved. That being said, for Germany, taking down Britain's naval fleet, one of the most powerful in the world at the time, would be no easy task. Its best chance against Britain, suggested by Germany's naval officer Dönitz, would be to extensively use its U-boats, better known as German submarines, on an aggressive campaign to destroy all British ships. This turned out to be highly effective, with Germany sinking a total of 39 ships in the first 2 weeks. Germany's success was further amplified by the wolf pack technique, in which rather than having a single submarine waiting to ambush a passing target, many U-boats would instead come together upon locating a convoy and attack together. Even if there were warships present, the sheer number of submarines would overwhelm them and successfully destroy the merchant ships. With these tactics, Germany was already able to sink ships faster than Britain could build them. At first, the Allies had a lot of trouble dealing with these U-boats. However, if they could detect the submarine threat beforehand, the Allies would at least have some time to prepare or reroute away. One way that this could be achieved would be to somehow break into German radio communications, used frequently by the U-boats to communicate with each other and to their naval headquarters. However, these signals were encrypted with Germany's very own Enigma machine, but if Britain could decipher it, the playing field would be even again. The signals intelligence program aimed to decipher the Enigma code was later codenamed Ultra.
Thought to be unbreakable by the Germans, the Enigma cipher was a uniquely complex encryption machine that had British and American cryptanalysts stumped for many years. The Enigma would encrypt messages by sending an electric signal from its keyboard to the 3 rotating wheels at the top of the machine after a key was pressed. As the signal passed through, the wheels would turn and change the circuit connections. Once the letter was processed through the wheels, it would be reflected back on the display as another alphabet letter. Since the wheels at the top of the machine were turned when the previous letter passed through, inputting the same letter would not necessarily display the same output letter as before. The security of the Enigma machine could be increased with the addition of a 4th wheel or a plug board below the keys, both adding trillions of more possibilities for encryption. In order to decrypt it, just knowing how the machine worked was not enough. The initial configuration of the machine was also needed. Polish mathematicians originally worked out how to read the Enigma before the start of the war, but the Germans increased the security of the code when the war started by changing the cipher system daily and adding a 4th and 5th wheel. As Germany threatened to invade Poland, Britain and France pledged their support in the event that Germany attacked, and Poland shared their work on the great progress towards the decryption of the Enigma. Using this information, Alan Turing and Gordon Welchman worked together to create a machine known as the bomb. This device emulated some processes of the Enigma machine, which significantly helped reduce the manual work of cryptographers. From mid-1940, German Air Force signals were successfully read, and the information gained from them supported the war effort. On May 9, 1941, British destroyers HMS Bulldog, HMS Broadway, and HMS Obrisha attacked U-110, embarking on what was later called Operation Primrose. The U-boat was seriously damaged and its crew surrendered when the submarine was thought to be sinking. 15 men from the boat were killed and 32 were captured. Along with the crew, an Enigma code machine, cipher tables, and navigation charts were obtained as well. The capture of U-10 was successfully kept as a secret as the boat sunk the next day. The Germans continued to use their codes, assuming their confidential materials sank as well. The recovered materials were taken to Bletchley Park in England, where cryptographers, including computer pioneer Alan Turing, succeeded in breaking the naval code. The codes allowed the U-boat traffic to be read for several weeks until the keys ran out. Through 1941, the British were able to plot the positions of U-boat patrol lines and route convoys around them. With these actions, merchant ship losses dropped by over two-thirds in July of 1941 and remained low until November. The codes also allowed the British to become familiar with the messages, which helped in breaking the new keys.
Although the Germans had modified the code once again in 1942, the capture of valuable resources from U-559 allowed the British to break into radio communications once more. Within hours of that breakthrough, the positions of more than a dozen U-boats were found. With ensuing technological advancements and improved convoy leadership and crew training by the British, and the falling quality of U-boat officers, Germany's U-boats now ceased to pose a problem for the Allies. The Battle of the Atlantic was over.